Ian Fleming's Dr. No. This is a Dutch comic book rendition of the movie. Dr. No. In Kingston, Jamaica, ER, the people on Richmond Street one night were regaled with a strange spectacle. 3 blind beggars stumbled in the direction of the Queen's Club, where one can find the richest people in Jamaica. In the Queen's Club sat John Strangways, an agent of the British Secret Service, playing cards with some friends. "Excuse me, but I have to disappear again. In the meantime, will you act on my behalf and order a round, Professor?" "But why do you have to leave every night at this time?" "Sorry, Potter, but my director has me call every night at exactly this time. I really can't help it." "Which company does he actually work for?" "He is the Caribbean agent of Universal Exports." "Universal Exports? Never heard of it." Strangeways hardly paid any attention to the 3 beggars when he went to his car. "Good evening, master." But then, a moment later, an old hearse came quickly around the corner. "Hurry up, guys." In the meantime, Mary Prescott, the secretary of Strangways, established radio communication with the military service in London, as she did every evening. "WXN, UXN, XN calls WIW. Can you understand me? Over." Mary heard a car pull up. She thought it was Strangways, who was coming home for the radio interview as usual. "WXN to WWW. Yes, you are coming through well." The door opened. Mary looked back. The other 2 men came in and carried Mary's body away. The first man began to search the cabinet with the card system. Soon he found what he was looking for. At that time, in the London office of the British Secret Service. "You are talking to the liaison service, sir. The contact with Jamaica is lost during the broadcast, and there is no question of a technical malfunction." A few hours later, James Bond, a.k.a. Secret Agent 007, entered the offices of the Secret Service. "Hello, sweetheart." "James, where have you been? They've been searching all of London for you." "Why all the excitement?" "Strangeways. It doesn't look good. Oh, the red light is on. Just go on in." Bond stepped into the adjoining room in front of M., Chief of the British Intelligence Department. "Good evening, sir." "Sit down. Jamaica disappeared from the airwaves tonight. Strangeways has disappeared, as has his secretary." "Was Strangeways doing anything important?" "The Americans have been complaining lately that their Cape Canaveral missiles are being disrupted on a large scale. They believe that the disturbances are caused from the area around Jamaica. Strangeways was investigating that. The Americans sent a CIA man to work with him. His name is Leiter." "And has he discovered anything?" "You'd better ask him yourself. Passage has been booked for you on the 7 o'clock plane. Now take off your jacket and give me your revolver." M. summoned Major Boothroyd, the weapons expert. "Just as I thought. The old Beretta. The last time this gun backfired, it cost you 6 months in the hospital." Bond is given a new revolver. A Walter PPK. It all just goes away when you pull the trigger. It's the best we have. "Anything else to ask, 007? "No, sir." "Well, then I wish you a lot of success, and I'll keep that Beretta." Hours later, Bond arrived in Kingston. "That girl, she wants to take a picture of me. But why?" "Mr. Bond, I'm Jones, the driver of the gouvernement. I was sent to come and pick you up." "Oh, That's very nice, Mr. Jones. Will you wait a minute? I just have to make my reservation. Bond entered a phone booth and called the government house. Hello. Could I speak to Mr. Plato Smith, the governor, for a moment? Yes, it's important. Mr. Plato Smith, 007 here. I would like to talk to you for a moment. Does 1 hour suit you? In your office? Wonderful. By the way, did you send a car to pick me up? But the governor had not sent a car. Bond hung up and walked back to the car. Where to, sir? To the government house. But I'm not in a hurry. Just drive me around the city first. As the car with Bond in it drove away, 2 men in another car gave chase. I believe that we are being followed. Try to shake them off. The hunt lasted several kilometers. Make a sharp turn to the left. The driver did just so, and the other car sped past. Well, Mr. Jones, who do you work for? Government house. I don't think so. Get out, but keep both your hands on the steering wheel so I can see them clearly. One of the driver's hands shot out to the glove box. Forget that. Well, all right then. I'll tell you everything. Can I have a cigarette? Hurry up, dude. I don't have time. Who do you work for, and what did you have to do? The driver took a cigarette out of a packet and put it in his mouth. Bond heard the crunch of breaking glass. Stop! But it was too late. The man was dead. A cyanide capsule in the cigarette. Bond returned to Kingston and met Plato Smith and Duff, the chief of police in Jamaica. Bond went with Duff to Strangeway's house. We examined the house from top to bottom. That closet over there is broken open, and that blood on the floor must be Mary Prescott's. Bond's eye fell on a book. Geological formations in the Caribbean. Do you know whether or not geology was a hobby of Strangeway's? Not that I know of. The man standing here with Strangeway's. That's the guy who drove the car behind me. One of the local fishermen. So he chased you? Well, I have to keep an eye on him. Bond thought he might be able to find out something from the 3 men who had last seen Strangeway's, Dent, Potter, and Plato Smith, that night. It's crazy that the old man Strangeway's suddenly disappeared. Or maybe he ran off with his beautiful secretary. In his conversation with you, did he ever make an allusion to what might happen to him? I never heard him talk about anything other than bridge and fishing. He often fished with a certain Quarrel. The next morning at the port. Is your name Quarrel? Maybe so. I would like to rent your boat. I'm a friend of Commander Strangeway's. Sorry, boss, but she's not for rent. Bond followed Quarrel to a small restaurant. The fisherman agreed to a conversation with Bond, but in private. Hey there. Make sure we can talk quietly for a while. No problems, Quarrel. Okay, boss. Tell me what's on your mind. Bond reached for his revolver, but... No use struggling. Boosfeller always wrestles with crocodiles. Stand with your face against the wall, but be quiet. Calm down, friend. Keep your head cool and feet warm, isn't it? Interesting. Who gave you this fitted suit, buddy? My tailor in London. So, mine lives in Washington. I'm Felix Leiter from the CIA. I assume you're James Bond. Do you mean we're on the same side? I saw you at the airport, but then you drove away with that driver. I thought that you were on the other side. This is Quarel, one of my best people. During the mealtime, the trio talked about disturbing events. Strangeways and Quarel have surveyed all the islands, but found nothing. Where all have you been? On the small islands, such as Fire Island, Crab Key, Morgan's Reef, but we haven't really researched Crab Key. We're not allowed to go there. What's with Crab Key? Why can't you get there? It's the appropriation of a Chinese eccentric. He doesn't want anyone to come there. Captain Strangeways and I have been there secretly a few times during the night to collect some stones, but it's perilous to show up on Crab Key. That Crab Key is starting to interest me. Could you tell me a little bit more about the Chinese eccentric? Nothing, just his name, Dr. No. The next day, Bond went to Professor Dent's lab to talk about the rocks Strangeway had collected. This is what I found in Strangeway's office. It says you did some mineral tests for him. Can you tell us more about that? He thought they had value, but I had to disappoint him. Can I see them for a moment? No. I mean, I threw them away. Sorry. Did he tell you where he came from? From Crab Key, perhaps? Most certainly not. That is geologically impossible. After Bond's departure, Dent hurried to the port. I have to get to the island immediately. I'll take all responsibility. Well, I hope you are well aware of what you are doing. Come on. Soon after, on the mysterious Crab Key, Dent was given access to Dr. No. Good afternoon, Professor. I am sure you would be so kind as to explain to me why you have broken my strictest rule by coming here. I had to. That guy Bond came to me. He has discovered that Strangeways collected rock samples from Crab Key. I ordered him to be killed, didn't I? So why is he still alive? All attempts failed. Failed? I don't like that word at all. And since you can't get rid of that Bond, we'll try it with natural causes. This will be flawless. That night, in Bond's hotel room... What is that? There's something crawling over my leg. When the thing crawled out from under the covers, Bond saw that it was a poisonous tarantula. The spider fell on the pillow, and Bond was able to push her to the ground. Well, I got you, murderer. The next morning, Bond went to Plato Smith's office to learn more about Crab Key and Dr. No. I'm sorry, sir, but I can't find the file on Crab Key anywhere. Commander Strangeways had the last of it. How annoying! On the contrary, that disappearance confirms the very thing that I already suspected. Bond suspected Miss Taro, Plato Smith's secretary, of being a spy. That's why he made a date with her for that afternoon. Will you come and pick me up, Mr. Bond? That's nice. I live on the Port Royal Road, in the mountains. Yes, that's excellent. But first, he went to catch up with Quarel. Where did you say again that Commander Strangeways had hidden those stones from Crab Key? Here they are, sir. Do you see how the Geiger counter turns out? These samples, which Strangeways brought from Crab Key, were radioactive, and yet Professor Dent said that there was nothing special about them. That's quite strange, isn't it? That Dent is either a bad investigator or a bad liar. I'd like to find out. Quarel, we have to get to Crab Key as soon as possible. Yes, I took the commander there, and we got out of there without difficulty, but, you know, there is a dragon, and... What? A superstition that was probably brought into the world by Dr. No. All right, boss. Tonight, at 7 o'clock. I'll see you there. Great, Quarel. Bond made his way to Miss Taro's house, but moments later he saw a long black hearse following him. The hearse caught up with him and tried to push Bond's car off the narrow road. But then a bulldozer popped up right in front of the two cars. Bond was just able to pass, but the hearse had to swerve too far. To her astonishment, Miss Tyrrell saw that Bond was still alive. "Oh, we had agreed to meet, didn't we?" "Oh, yes, of course, but I didn't expect you so soon." "Your phone rings. It doesn't record?" "Hello. Yes, he's indeed here. I don't know what has happened. All right, I'll keep him here." "Why don't you get dressed? Then we can have a good time going out for dinner somewhere." "Oh, no, I'd rather stay here. I love to cook." "Oh, no, I'll order a taxi." But when the taxi came, "Here she is, Commissioner, and preferably a nice quiet cell with a spacious view." Bond went back to the apartment, and it didn't take long till... "Hello, Dent. I knew you would come sooner or later." "She's been chatting." "No, you made a fool of yourself when you told me that those radioactive stones from Strangeway were worthless. You killed him, didn't you?" "Well, he is dead. How doesn't matter." "Who do you work for, Dent?" "I should know that very well, but you won't live long enough to get anything out of it. I work for..." Dent quickly grabbed his revolver. The men were at the same time. Bond, however, shot better. A few hours later, Bond and Quarrel were on their way to Crab Key. "We're almost there, boss." "Beautiful. Lower the sail in case they have a radar station." "Yes, boss. And also beware, the surf." They got through safely and hid the boat. "We'd better rest a bit until it gets light." The next morning, Bond was awakened by the singing of a girl. When he went to investigate... "Who are you?" "Don't be alarmed. I'm also trespassing." "Who are you, if I may ask?" "Honey Rider. Are you also looking for shells?" "No, I'm just looking around. Do they have value?" "In Miami, they are worth $5 each. But you promise me that you will not tell anyone." "I promise." Suddenly, they heard the roar of a motorboat. "Come along, quick." "We know you're here. We were expecting you. Come out with your hands up." The motorboat opened fire. "Stay still. It won't last long. They don't know exactly where we are." "We'll be back with the dogs. Do you see how dangerous it is here?" Honey discovered that her boat had been punctured by the machine gun. She decided to stay with Bond and Quarrel as they entered the dense forest. The barking of dogs became audible. Quarrel cut off some hollow reeds. "We'll hide in a ditch until they pass." The trick worked. They went unnoticed. Later, "There are dragon tracks. There, he has breathed fire." "Go and rest a bit if you like. I'll keep watch here before the dragon smells us and wants to attack us." Honey and Bond crawled into a kind of cave while Quarrel kept watch. Towards the evening... Boss, the dragon! He's coming our way!" "Well, boss, if that's not a dragon, so what is it?" "A dragon that runs on diesel engines. You see ghosts, Quarrel. Come along. If that tank is close by, you get the driver, and I'm aiming for the headlights and the tires." But the bullets ricocheted off the dragon's thick armor. Quarrel shot one of the headlights of the dragon. The Colossus turned and came straight at him. Closer and closer. When Bond saw that resistance was futile. "Hands up and wrists together. Come here now, but slowly." "Fear not, Honey." Bond and Honey were hoisted into the dragon and taken to a decontamination center. They had been walking on radioactive ground, so their clothes and bodies had to be thoroughly cleaned. "Now, you go under the shower." Then they came to the reception center. They were not prepared for what they found there. "Poor people. We really didn't know when you would come. I'm Sister Rose. This is Sister Lily. It is our job to make your stay here as pleasant as possible. But of course, you want to go to your rooms first. The doctor has given strict orders that you must not be disturbed before dinner tonight. Would you like to dine with him? Willingly. They were taken to a sumptuously furnished room. But no doorknobs and no windows. A golden cage. That evening, they were ushered into Dr. No's dining room. We are at least 70 kilometers below sea level. This must have cost something. $1 million, my Mr. Bond. You wondered what this cost? All your guests would do that. A unique achievement. I designed all of this myself. After dinner, the time has now come for us to have a serious exchange of views. I don't think the girl needs to be present. She has nothing to do with me. Good. Take her away. No, I'll stay with you. I let you live for a very special reason. You have to send a radio message to your American friends to tell them that there is nothing special going on this island. In 6 hours, the newest American rocket will be launched. I'm going to destroy it, and no one will prevent me from doing so. I won't, and it wouldn't help you. The authorities are aware of your activities. With or without my help, you can't stop that missile. They can't do anything about my jammer, because I'm a genius and they're idiots. Once I offered them my services, but they rejected them. My experiments have cost me a lot of money, but I have also become the greatest radiation expert in the world. Bond decided it was best to off Dr. No, while he slips a lighter into his palm unnoticed. You won't succeed. Lust for power. The asylums are full of idiots like you, who think they are Napoleon or God himself. As you wish. I'm going to let you live, long enough at least, to see the launch fail. Then you will die a very painful death, Mr. Bond. Take him away, now. Bond was beaten and thrown into a cell. The only way out, there turned out to be a grid that was electrified. A fuse blew when Bond felt the shock. He was now able to pry off the gate. The shaft first descended perpendicularly, and then walked horizontally. But, whew, it's scorching hot in here. I'll tear my shirt to pieces and wrap the rags around my hands. Bond crawled along the red-hot shaft. Every moment was a torment. When... water! The water flowed over Bond and cooled the shaft. Using his lighter, Bond determined how the air flowed. If I go in the direction of the airflow, I could crawl to another opening. Finally, in the closet were anti-radiation suits. Bond put one on. And now, looking for Dr. No. In the meantime, Dr. No was putting the finishing touches on his disruptive core reactor. Inserting the fuel elements? 2 more, Doctor. Chang walked into the room where Bond had been hiding. Bond took Chang's place to the switchboard, with which the power supply of the nuclear reactor was regulated. Dr. No carried out the final check. What about the cadmium rods? Where did Chang go? There he is, already. Pay attention, Chang. If the elements go too far, everything goes wrong. In Cape Canaveral, the launch of the rocket began. Dr. No ordered the jamming reactor to be shut down. Bond started to turn the dial. 15, 20, 22, 25, 27, radiation 865. The reactor struck out. Our attempt failed. The rocket took off unhindered from Cape Canaveral. Dr. No ran to the switchboard where Bond was standing. Oh, you! I'll kill you! Dr. No attacked Bond, but he managed to push him against the switchboard. The doctor hit an electrical socket, and all of Crab Key was in a panic. Bond made his way through the crowd to the reception center. "Where is she, the girl?" "In the same room, I swear to you." Bond forced Sister Lily to open the door. He dragged Honey along and ran to the beach. There they found a motorboat. A little later, at sea. "That was just in the nick of time, Honey. But we can be satisfied. Dr. No is dead, the launch successful, and you can go and find shells on Crab Key." The end. I hope you enjoyed this rendition of Dr. No. It took a lot of work, a lot of translation had to go into this, going back and forth. So I hope you appreciated this, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.